Hello guys, welcome to my third part of the RuneScape Vorago Ultimate Guides. This is the first rotation out of the 4 at Vorago. It's the Scopulus rotation. Again, a lot of people say this is the easiest for DPSs, and it is. It's definitely the week where seismic ones go down in price, so hope you enjoy the video. If you were watching carefully at the beginning of this video, you'll actually would have saw me soul splitting. Now this is a little tip I picked up on. Again, if you want to watch an in-depth guide on how to melee base tank, then watch my previous guide on the Boulders rotation. This also includes gear setup. However, as you can see here as well, you want to be healing as the melee base tank. You want to have heal runes in your inventory, which is blood runes, astral, and lore runes. That's the inventory setup you want in order to base tank effectively. To explain the format of this video, it's mainly going to focus on the phases 3, which is going to be the Scopulus phase, and that's the most important phase for this. I have made 2 guides previous to this, so please check those out if you want full guidance on phase 1, also on phase 2 and 4. Because phase 1, 2 and 4 are pretty much similar on all rotations. Phase 4 is actually in fact extremely easy on this rotation for DPSs, but this rotation is actually the hardest for tankers. So again, even though this is from the perspective of a melee base tank, which is the role I'm carrying out on the video here, as you can see, I'm still going to give you some insight into tanking tips and where the tank should stand on phase 3. The second part of this video is going to be an in-depth guide on maxing melee DPS in phase 5 of Vorago. So this is a highly requested video from my subscribers at the moment, and I'm hoping you new guys out there who are watching my video today are going to really appreciate the second part of this guide as well. So again, just to recap, the first 5 minutes is going to be around the rotation itself, and then the last 5 minutes is going to be mainly focused on phase 5, how to melee DPS, and a walkthrough of what I'm thinking whilst I'm using my abilities on that phase, why I'm using them in a certain order, and how to really maximize your DPS on that phase 5, which is of paramount importance when you're with a team on this boss fight. I hope the rest of this video helps you out guys in the future, and enjoy. Okay, so I'm going to concentrate just on the DPS role at the moment, just while I explain through the first bit of this phase. So as a team, you want to split off evenly as you can. You want potentially one person in the middle of the Scopuluses who can switch between each one, depending on what their life points are. Just to wrap this up quite quickly, the Scopulus, they are brothers basically, and they get enraged if one of them die quicker than the other. Also, you need to try and keep them apart as much as possible. So you'll see me voking and then going east and trying to get the Scopulus to follow me. The reason for this is because if they come together and they go on top of each other, again, their damage increases. And then at that point, there's loads of different scenarios, but at that point, you want the melee base tank to hit their shield on and try and tank both of them, whilst everyone just tries to DPS them down. But this is actually quite perfect. This is really nicely laid out. You want to try and evenly get their life points down. And this is just a perfect example of how to do that. As you can see, as a twin dies, Scopulus grows enraged because their brother died. They're just mortified, and their damage does increase. So again, just watch out for that. But again, if you've got their life points down low enough and it's pretty similar, then you should be fine. Okay, another place in which the tank can stand is directly south from Vorago. Make sure it's symmetrical, and as long as the Scopulus are apart, it's fine, and they'll take all the magic bombs. Now, as a tank, you want to be using Immortality. Once that Immortality runs out, tell any healer within your team, then they're responsible then to actually heal that tanker up to full life points. And that's exactly the way you should do it. So there's another place which the tank can stand. As you can see, I'm just about to heal the tanker as well as the rest of my teammates. And then it's just the same again, really. Make sure you keep the Scopulus apart and just DPS them down. Another quick note, if you've got rangers in your team on phase 3 on the Scopulus rotation, their damage dealt to the Scopulus is very, very minimal. It's not that high, and the Scopulus just seem to have quite a high defense against range attacks. So again, they should definitely be bringing the heal runes. So then if there's any meleeers in your team, such as myself there in this team, then they shouldn't really be healing. They should be focusing on that DPS. Now on to phase 4. At this point, this is after the second waterfall, and we've all stopped attacking it due to its being in its reflex stage. Now, as you would have saw, we would have DPS Vorago down. However, we didn't DPS Vorago down enough. I think it's got around 33k life points. Now, instead of 33k life points, you want to be DPSing it down to around between 13k and 20k life points. As you can see, we don't actually DPS it down enough now for it to go into phase 5. The ideal situation, if you watch my previous guides, is that you DPS Vorago down before the third waterfall comes into play, before the third reflect comes into play. And therefore you'll actually be able to speed up this phase and prevent any more damage being given to the tankers and any DPSs in your team. Also, a bonus tip for you guys there, if you're the melee base tank and you're in the corner, you want to use escape to get out of it. Make sure you use it in the right time though. There's been plenty of funny moments where either myself or a teammate's escape too early and then you get KO'd by the waterfall attack. So again, just be careful about that, but it does help. You can invoke Vorago straight back onto you and get back into the fight. For an in-depth guide on phase 4, watch my previous guide, the Boulders rotation. It explains it very well, exactly when you should DPS, exactly when you should get off, so check that out. Links for both of the previous 2 guides for Vorago will be in the description below. Okay, on to how to max melee DPS on phase 5 at Vorago on any rotation. Now from phase 4 you want to carry over your adrenaline. Make sure you keep your adrenaline as high as possible. If you've got it 100% when you go into phase 5, use the threshold, then boost back up. Boost to 100% when you can, then you want to use Berserk first as your first ultimate ability. Whack an adrenaline pot if you wish to do so. Keep using basic abilities, charging your adrenaline bar up to the first threshold. The first threshold you want to use will be Assault. Again, watch out for the bleed effects which Vorago inflicts upon you. You want to use Freedom to get rid of those. Now, as you saw there, I used Assault. You want to charge back up and you want to use Destroy. Then you can even use a Slaughter if you wish, but after you've used at least 2 thresholds, you want to just keep using basics, charging your adrenaline bar back up to 100%. Now before the reflect, Vorago does release a red bomb to the tanker. Approximately about 5 hits after that red bomb, he actually goes into reflect, so that's how you can actually time when to stop attacking. Now after the second reflect, you want to use Natural Instinct. Make sure you're 100% to use that. Then as you'll see, Natural Instinct, it actually doubles your adrenaline which you receive from basic abilities. Now if you do get 2 bleeds, as you saw there, you need to run back so the bleed disappears, or use escape if you can. Now get back into that fight. You want to charge up your adrenaline up to 100% as you saw there, then use Berserk again. Then use basics until you charge up to a threshold. Now, before you use Natural Instinct after that second reflect, you can actually tell whether your Berserk's going to be ready in time for when you hit to 100% adrenaline. If you check your Berserk, make sure that it's 3/4 of the way up to being fully charged, then you know when you use Natural Instinct you will get back, or when you get to 100% adrenaline you will have Berserk ready to use. Then again, just charge up your abilities, use an adrenaline pot and use your thresholds. Get back up to 100% ready for after the third reflect. As you'll see, I use Massacre. Now Massacre really slaughters this bitch, right? It has a really nice bleed effect which constantly increases depending on if Vorago moves or not, right? So Vorago always moves back, so those slaughter attacks deal so much damage. It's extremely nice. It's like a souped up version of the slaughter ability. So you want to use that as your third ultimate attack after the third reflect. At this point, if you've got a good team, then you should be at the point of where you can use them all, right? Or if you're getting lucky, you know, if you're not getting as many bleeds. But as you saw, I got many bleeds, and the tanker doesn't actually have runes, so he kind of failed there. He forgot to bring runes, so this whole kill actually we've not used runes. But after the third reflect, as you saw there, and I used Massacre, you can go into the fourth reflect and your Berserk should be charged up again. Forget about Natural Instinct, that wouldn't have been charged by now. Use Berserk, start dealing that huge DPS again, and that's how you finish it off, guys. So that's how you max your melee DPS. I'm going to show you a clip purely of me doing this with less bleeds being inflicted on me, so it's a lot more smoother. Now after each reflect, preferably you do want to be having 100% adrenaline. There is also a tip on the next clip of phase 5 where I actually use the shield in between whilst Vorago's reflecting, because you can't damage him, so if you whack your shield on, hit resonance and preparation, that'll actually increase your adrenaline up. So I'll just let you watch the next clip as well on top of this, just so you can see the walkthrough again, really, of all the abilities I use. You watch it carefully, remember what I've talked about over the past 3-4 minutes, and actually see it in action again. Just to add in there quickly, which I forgot to mention, is the actual gear setup which I've got. So I've got Torva helm, plate body and legs, Torva gloves, Ragefire boots, Fury and dual Drygor longswords, as you can see there. What is required to max melee DPS really here is a Ring of Vigor. After using an ultimate ability, your adrenaline bar starts from 10% rather than 0%, so that's the effect. You can acquire this from Dungeoneering. Now watch carefully at the abilities I use over the next 2-minute clip. This is a very quick phase 5. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed watching that demonstration of me attempting to max melee DPS on phase 5. Again, you can just use whatever you're comfortable with. I hope this whole guide was really helpful for you guys. Good luck with your kills. I hope you get some crazy loot from Vorago, some seismic wands, maybe some orbs. But again, just keep a lookout for my 4th guide to the series, which will be on the Vitalis rotations, or also known as the Blue Clouds. Let me know what you thought about this guide and hit that like button if you enjoyed it, and also subscribe for future videos. I'm just going to leave links in the description below if you want to check those out. Those are videos which relate to this guide. And also I'm just going to leave this whole guide on a high with an outtake clip. So take care guys and have a great day.
Oh, thanks.
Will you help me?
Yeah.
You forgot me! Oh my god.
Where are you? I couldn't see you.